Okay. Look, thanks a lot for joining me this morning. Really appreciate it. And I'd encourage you to try and all engage in this consultation. Be respectful of each other when you're speaking. But please take the opportunity to engage. And you can raise your hand if you want to make a point, and I'll ensure come around and give you the opportunity to speak up. Just to begin, I'd like you to maybe tell me a bit about what you know about Sport Ireland's work in research and evaluation space.
Who wants to start?
You go for it, Lynn.
Oh, Jesus. I had a feeling there was going to be an awkward silence there, Benny, till somebody went. I suppose a lot of the research that I've been linked with yourselves has been around the recent ones, in particular of the adolescents, of a lot of the women in sport, I suppose, ones at the minute. And I know they kind of go across departments in relation to yourselves with NORA, etc. But they're big ones. The CISPA study as well, we would have linked a lot with, and even the results of it through, say, some of the researchers that was involved, we would link in for obviously our own programs and how we get it in. The I Coach Kids, I know they're across different departments, but there's a lot of research driven ones. So what we would link strongly for is, I know for the recent adolescent ones, I actually done one of the focus groups with the group that was doing it across in the UK. But we would make sure, I suppose, when things are published as well, to link up to see where our education needs to change, because there's no point in us reinventing the wheel on certain research that's done. So it's kind of across, I suppose, all of those that we'd be looking at. And I know there's a lot more, but it's the ones that kind of impact our programs, our future plan. They're the things that we probably link in strongly with. I don't know if that answers my aspect of it.
That's a very accurate answer, Lynn. I'm very impressed. Sinead, Peter, go ahead.
So I suppose to add on to what Lynn is talking about there, I suppose more recently we've been involved in the M1 pilot study around measurement of physical activity post engagement. I suppose for ourselves we do a good bit of work on the retention, and it wouldn't necessarily be myself who's working with you on those specifically. How we use some of the research that comes out, I suppose, is part of it as well. So things like the Irish Sports Monitor and many of the reports that have come over the years from ESRI around, patterns of behaviour or changes that are needed, recommendations, and we would try and build that into our national development planning process. So trying to, I suppose, link in with like the most recent, the teenage girls research, and trying to take that on board when we're doing our work planning as well. So we're just in our national development plan, we will be developing a research strategy ourselves. So this is perfect timing to touch base and get some ideas, as my colleague Louise Conlon is leading out on that strategy. But there's loads of opportunity. I think there's probably loads of stuff that you do that we don't harness enough of or don't engage enough of, and that was one of my key things with us getting involved in the M1.
Thanks, Sinead. Peter, is there anything from your end you'd like to add?
Little to add, to be honest. I think Sinead and Lynn have covered lots of it there. As you know, we would have had some discussions with yourself and Peter before, we said last summer and into the autumn. So again, this is an area that we are very interested in. I suppose like most of what we would have engaged with in the past would have been the large scale outputs from Sport Ireland, which again are fine, and again, as both Sinead and Lynn have mentioned, CISPA and Irish Sports Monitor and ESRI, the large scale programs and so on, and all those have been very useful for us in lots of different ways. But I suppose the attention is going to turn to now what's the next steps for all of us, and where can we start collaborating on those things. I think that'll be an interesting step for us all.
Do you commission any research yourselves, or do you rely on other sources to get relevant research other than Sport Ireland?
So what we
go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, so what we've done the last year, especially, I've been trying to pull together this area for us, and I suppose what I've done is essentially try to develop various proof of concept projects with a view to convince